Assalamu alaikum. Today our topic is writing application or application writing. In this lecture, we will discuss about application writing. That what is application, then types of application, then what is leave application, and about some types of leave application, then about format of leave application and some samples of leave application. Then we will discuss application letter to the principal for admission, and then we will look at some samples of application letters for admission. The first thing, that what is application? A formal request to be considered for a position or to be allowed to do or to have something submitted to an authority, institution or organization. Application is just a formal request formal request to which is submitted to the authority for some request to apply something or to and applications are written to the authority to get some approval about something. Then there are so many types of application, but we will discuss in this topic only four main types of application. Two types of application we will discuss in this lecture, and the next two we will discuss in the next lecture. The first one is leave application, and the second one is application letter to the principal for admission, and the third one is application for scholarship, and the fourth one is job application. Leave application is the most important thing you can say of all those persons who are doing job or who are students, because in their regular life sometimes they need some break, and to through the admission through the permission of authority, um, uh, to get permission from the authority, he or she can should write an application, leave application. Then the second type of application is when someone wants to get admission in some other school or college, then he have to write application to the principal for admission. And the third one is application for scholarship. When you are going to apply for a scholarship, you just have to write application. The fourth one is job application. When you are going to apply for a job, you just have to write job application. Then leave application. Our life is never been constant. There comes a time where everyone needs to take a short break from study and professional work. It may be that you are planning a vacation with family or friends, want to take a break from the study, unavoidable medical circumstances, wedding in the family, or a fatal incident. Our life is never same. Sometimes ups and downs are there, and to handle these ups and downs, sometimes we need break from our work. Sometimes we are going to attend a wedding in our family, or we are going to the some medical checkup, or we are going to we want to plan some visits, or we want to plan any trip with our family or friends. To fulfill all these conditions, we just have to plan. We just have to approval from our office or from our school or college for this break. And to get this break, we just have to write leave application. Whatever may the reason be, it's important to write a leave application before taking time for documentation purpose, to make it easier for your school principal, teacher, or office manager to understand what are you asking for. Taking a break without information to the officials is much like digging your own grave. When you are going to plan something, you just have to um, get permission from your office or from your uh, school or college. But before going to submit your application in hard form, you just have to communicate about your vocations, about your planning of break to the higher authorities in oral form. Because when you have discussed it to the higher authorities before documentation submission of your hard form, your hard form application, then it will be easy for you to submit. And the chances of your of the approval of your application are more, become more, because you have discussed about uh, you have discussed about your planning before the submission of your hard form application. A leave application is basically a formal way of asking for a break from work for a particular time period. College students follow college rules to write the leave application. The reason for leave should be included in the application, and it is essential to make sure that it is acceptable by the institution or organization. When you are going to write leave application, you just have to write it in formal way. You can't use informal language or informal words when you are writing a leave application. You just have to follow some rules. If you are studying in any college, or if you are working in any office, you just have to follow the pattern of leave application of the of your related department. If you are having a decent reason for application, then your request will be declined without any justification, particularly when it is due to some personal reasons like illness, urgent piece of work, or for visiting sick parents, etc. The leave of absence letter should be genuine, brief, and to the point. When you are going to write an application, and the reasons which you are going to mention in your application, the reasons must be genuine. And if the reasons are personal basis, like when you are feeling ill or you are not feeling well, and you have to do some work on urgent basis, or you have to visit your sick parents, these all are the reasons which are belong to you personally, and these reasons increase the um, and these reasons increase the chances of your of the approval of your leave application. Then the leave application, your leave application should be genuine and brief and to the point. In while writing a leave application, you shouldn't write extra or more details. You just have to write short words, but you just and you just have to write or mention only that information which is required or which is needed. Try to avoid grammar mistakes and punctuation error as much as possible. While writing an application, the leave application should not be friendly or casual, rather it must be formal and professionally written. When you are going to write an absence letter, then your absence letter should be to the point. You should try your level best not to do grammatical mistakes or punctuation error or spelling mistakes, because all these mistakes are not acceptable in formal writing. And a leave application is also written in formal writing. The leave application should not be friendly. When you are going to write a leave application, it shouldn't be written in a formal or casual way. It should be written in a formal and professionally manner or professionally written. Then there are some types of leave application. A leave application for sick leave, leave for visiting a doctor, medical leave, leave for marriage, leave for an urgent piece of work, annual leave request, study leave, and leave application for visiting sick parents or mother or father. First three types belong are uh, sick leave, and the third one is when you are going to attend someone's marriage, and when you want to, and when you are going to do some task on urgent basis, then you will apply for leave, and so on. Now, what is the format of a leave application? A lot of things are invited in writing a leave application, whether it is a leave application for office, leave application for work, leave application for internship, or leave application for school. Since you have to follow a specific format to ensure that your employer get convinced for granting you leave for your required time period. The following format for leave application can be used for writing a professional and likable application. When you are going to write a leave application, um, any type of leave you are going to apply, you just have to mention the date of your um, the date of your break, and you just have to mention the duration of your break. Then there is a format of a leave application. The leave letter body is the most important in a writing application. You just have to follow a set pattern while writing an application. Normally, in the first section, you should provide your details to the employer and inform him that you need to a break from official activities. The duration of a leave along with a good reason for leave should be stated too. Try to give short, concise information and don't write a lengthy passages. When you are going to write leave application, you just have to mention the duration of your leave, and your leave should be written in a formal way, and it should be short. There you should just mention all only those things which are important to be discussed. You there is no need to discuss all these things which are unnecessary. But keep one thing in your mind, that leave application shouldn't be too long to understand the real reason of your application. Second section of leave application. In this section, you should tell the employer about the details and status of your current project. You may hand over your incomplete work to any of your capable team member and address this issue in detail to the in the letter. When you are going to apply for leave application, you just have to you just have to hand over your incomplete work to that person whom you consider that he is capable, that he will compensate your absence, and he will do your work in your absence. Then mention that person and hand over all your work to that person. Then third section of leave application. The employer should be thanked in this in this final section for taking into consideration your leave. Provide a number for a contact in case of an emergency situation. When you are when you have completed the first two sections, and then in third section you just have to provide your you just have to say thanks to the employer for consideration of your leave, and then you just have to mention your contact number. And when in your absence, when there is a need of yours, then the employer can contact you. So it's important to provide your contact number when you are going to apply for leave. Then closing. In closing, you just have to write your faithfully and complimentary remarks, and then you have to put your signature, and then you have to mention your name. What should be included in the leave application? When you are going to plan a leave application, you just have to keep in your mind these points in your mind, because uh, application must be written in a formal way, following certain rules, or following certain format. At the start, you just have to write designation of the receiver, then you have to mention date, then salutation. In salutation you can use dear sir or madam. Then subject of application is the most important part of any application. Then greeting, then request for some time off because you are going to write leave application. Then date and range when you will be away from school or office. Then closing remark, and then you put your signature. Then there are examples of leave application. You have 3 minutes to read this application. See, at the start there is a receiver's address and it's his designation, and then there is date, and then salutation, and then these two paragraphs are known as the body of an application. Then complimentary remark, and then roll number and name. If you are a student and you are going to apply for leave, then you will mention your classroom, class number, and your roll number. And if you are doing a job in any office, then you will just put your signature. There is another example of sick leave application. there is another example of leaf, but this example is different from the previous one. In previous sample, we there is an application to the school principal, and this leave application is for job. Let's revise leave, what is application and what is leave application for 5 minutes, and then we will discuss the next type of application. We have discussed that what is an application, then we have discussed types of application, then what is leave application, and how much leave application is important in students and in those persons who are doing some job. Then we have discussed that before going to apply for leave, we just have to discuss orally about your leave or your taking of time, and then we have discussed that leave application should be written in formal way, and we have to follow some certain rules while writing a leave application. Then we have discussed then when leave application is written on personal basis or personal reasons, then there are lots of chances to be approval of your leave. But the most important thing is that your leave application must have genuine reason, and your leave application should be to the point. Next, we have discussed about different types of leave application. Application for sick leave, leaving for visiting a doctor, medical leave, leave for marriage, leave for an urgent piece of work, annual leave, study leave, and leave for visiting sick parents. Then we have discussed format of leave application. Then we have discussed that while writing leave application, which things should be adopted at first and which things should be adopted at second or on second number. first you have to inform your employer about your leave. Then you just have to hand over your work to someone who will handle your work in your absence. Then you just have to thank you uh, thank to the authorities, and then you just have to provide your contact number for contact in case of an emergency situation. Then we have discussed format of uh, leave application. This format is used for uh, many other types of applications. There is an example of leave application. Then there is another example of leave application. And the third one is also leave application. And now we will discuss how do I write an application letter to the principal for admission for a secondary school. When you are going to write an application to the principal for admission, you just have to uh, keep these things in your mind. The first one is the class you wanted to take admission. You this it should be clear in your mind that in which class you are going to take admission. And then the second question or second thing must be in your mind that what is the reason of changing your school, or why you want to take admission in new school, or why you want to take admission in that school in which you are going to apply. The third thing is brief your academic performance for previous year. You just have to mention your previous results or previous academic performance in in application writing to the principal for admission. You just have to mention your percentage or your CGPA in previous classes or in previous degrees. Then you just have to mention your phone number and your email address, that in some emergency cases the college or school will contact you. And there is an example of admission, getting admission in a school. You have 3 minutes to read this type of application. See, um, the same pattern is followed in admission application, which is of leave application, but there is a little change in these types. In uh, leave application, you just have to mention receiver's designation and name, and then you have to mention date, and then you have to write salutation, and then you have to write subject. But in admission application, you just have to mention designation and address of the receiver, then you have to mention subject, and your subject should be of 6 to 8 lines, and that subject should have great meanings in it. There is no need to discuss your subject in 2 to 3 lines. Your subject should be written in 1 sentence. Then you have to write salutation, and then you have to write body of the letter. Just read the body of the letter. Then there are 2 types of admission form or admission application. The first one is written by that person who is going to apply for to get admission in any school, and he will write in his her own version, and he will discuss he will describe the reason um, of getting admission in that school, or he will discuss why he is leaving the previous school. But there is another form of of admission application letter is also there. In this type, you just have to mention your name, your course name, and your year of getting admission, and uh, the course which you are going to adopt. There is no need to follow any certain rule or any format. You just have to fill the blanks, and in these blanks you just have to read the question and fill these blanks by your own answering, which are related to your own personality, or which are related to your academic life, which are related to your name and address. You just have um, to fill the blanks. Thank you.